Hey everyone, welcome back. I am finally going to react to episode 3 of Peel today. I reacted to episodes 1 and 2, go back and watch those if you haven't, and it seemed like enough of you were interested in me reacting to episode 3, and I figured, why the hell not? Let's finish strong. I already did the first 2. I am really curious to see what happens, but I haven't watched it because I wanted to save it to react to. If you don't know what Peeled is, it's a vegan cooking competition show on YouTube. It's produced by VKind Studios. My reactions to episodes 1 and 2 were kind of mixed. I think I liked episode 1 better than episode 2. A lot of you guys were pretty harsh on it. I would say harsher than I was. I feel like I tried to critique it but also remain diplomatic, and some of you guys in the comments have been savage, the comments have been hilarious and have made me laugh. Safe to say, I think a lot of you guys have not enjoyed the show and feel like it makes us look bad overall. Like I said, some things I liked, some things I didn't like, and overall, I haven't been blown away by it, but it's still sort of fun to watch. I've gone into lots of my critiques in the previous videos, so again, watch those if you haven't, and I will really only be reacting to episode 3 today. You guys may remember from episode 2, I kind of critiqued the fact that they used the exact same intro for episodes 2 and 1. That was like just a bunch of clips from episode 1, and I thought they should have added in some different clips for episode 2 that were from episode 2, and I could already tell episode 3, it's the exact same intro all over again. Here we go, let's get started.
America's hottest vegan chef.
Congratulations for successfully advancing to the last course of your 3-course gourmet meal. Now, before I tell you about your next challenge, let's introduce our all-vegan panel of judges.
Am I missing something? They said this is supposed to be the last course in a gourmet vegan meal, as if episode 1 was supposed to be course 1, episode 2 was supposed to be course 2, and this is going to be the dessert. I can already tell you guys that not having much of a sweet tooth, I'm not super excited for this episode, but maybe I will be pleasantly surprised.
A pioneer in the vegan culinary industry, Sophie's Kitchen CEO, Dr. Miles.
No offense, but I'm fast forwarding through the intros because I've already seen them and I don't need to see them again.
Speaking of Chef Chris, he's expecting a guest in a minute now.
Heather, how are you?
Nice to see you.
You too. Chefs, we have an incredible guest for you today. This is Heather Heath. If you guys fumble during your challenge, Heather is here to help. So, pull her and I aside, throw your hand up. We'll be walking around checking on you, but what you need to do is utilize this talent, okay? Heather, tell us all about your Vegas Veganary Culinary School and Eatery.
You're coming in and taking a 2.5-hour to 3-hour class.
I do want to focus a little bit on your charity for a second, because the work you do with Willow's Wish is phenomenal. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Willow's Wish was actually the deciding factor in moving in this direction. Piecing together what's actually happening to dogs and giving one of my rescues a voice so that people start making the connection that dogs are being farmed in South Korea mainly. It wasn't about rescuing the dogs, it was about rescuing all of the animals, but people listen because of the dogs. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, chefs.
That's true, calling out cognitive dissonance. Again though, I've just learned more about this random woman that they randomly brought in than I know about either two contestants. I know next to nothing about either of the finalists other than that the one woman, whose name I don't even remember, used to work in finance and works as a private chef now. I don't know anything about the other woman, and that's been one of my biggest critiques so far, and they just gave this random woman that we have no connection to, who they just brought in to help the chefs, I guess. They just gave her like a 2-minute package about her history and what she does. Interesting choice.
You'll be creating an elaborate dessert course consisting of 3 components. 1 raw ingredient, 1 baked component, and 1 transformational element. You may use any ingredient from the Peel Pantry, but all of the ingredients on your cutting boards must be integrated into your desserts. These include funky mellow marshmallow cream and a cinnamon bun, which Chef Babette will tell you about in just a moment.
Cinnamon bun in front of you comes from the well-known vegan restaurant chain Copper Branch. You are required to creatively incorporate this into your final dessert.
The winning dessert will be featured on the menu of Copper Branch in all 38 restaurant locations in the United States and Canada. Copper Branch is also underwriting a $1,000 donation to the winner's favorite charity of choice. And one of you will win a 3-day, 2-night stay in Costa Rica at the Mother Earth Vegan Hotel with a $500 air travel voucher.
So I had never heard about Copper Branch up until a few years ago. Interesting that they're doing a cross promotion with them. It kind of seems like the show is being paid for by getting vegan brands to like pay to feature on the show.
If you win the Peeled competition, what charity are you going to be donating to?
Well, to my own charity, I have my own nonprofit called the Martha Project, which I named after my late grandma Martha Ann, because she's the reason that I went vegan, to help her heal from cancer. And we feed the houseless community of LA plant-based meals with compassion, love, and connection. So I will be keeping my own project going.
I've heard of your project being from LA, so
I have heard of either this charity or a similar one. I have to check in. One of my friends has volunteered with them. So that's really cool. Yay, we're finally learning some information about Chef Nicole, that she started a charity. That's awesome. Would have loved to hear about that earlier.
Have anything that you would like to ask?
Actually. Would that be a good substitute for cornstarch?
No, I'll tell you that no. Well, chefs, it looks like you're extremely...
What was that? I wonder what that was, because one time I asked Paul to get cornstarch for the orange tofu that I make, which you coat with cornstarch and then fry it so that it's really crispy, and he got tapioca starch instead. And he said the guy at Whole Foods said that this was a good substitute, and I was like, well, you shouldn't have listened to him. And we had like the gloopiest, slimiest orange tofu that I've ever made.
I gotta say, when it comes to baked goods, I'm not looking for healthy. I'm looking for escape.
Thank you for saying that.
I want it to be delicious and indulgent. Every bite.
I agree with Miles here that I don't, when I'm eating like a vegan snack, like vegan junk food or a vegan dessert, I don't really need it to be healthy. I want it to be, it's in its designated, like if I wanted a healthy snack, I would eat, apples with peanut butter. If I want a bag of chips, I want a bag of chips. Don't try to like make the bag of chips healthier. Paul is someone that likes sort of healthier vegan desserts. I just want it to taste good and not have stevia in it.
Chef Sandra.
Yes.
Is that milk butter that you're using?
Absolutely.
Our presenting sponsor?
Yes, and I actually use it sometimes in my baking at home, so I'm familiar with it.
Amazing.
So she just said Melt Butter was a presenting sponsor, so they are definitely getting sponsored by at least a few of these brands.
I did see her earlier go into that canvas that she has put the bread pudding in.
Is it on? It turned on in the back?
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's on, but it's not turning on.
Again, they're including all of these sort of equipment malfunction moments, which I think only makes the show look amateur and doesn't make the chefs look bad and doesn't add any fun drama. It's just kind of like cringy drama of like, oh, this equipment that you picked for them either like doesn't work or isn't intuitive to a chef. So that's not doing anything for me.
Are you guys intimidated by Chef Chris or what?
Nope.
We got fire on this
So that
station.
means we need to step it up a little bit.
A lot of people have commented on my video that what they don't like about cooking shows is the sort of intentionally bullying chefs. It somewhat seems like some of these judges are sort of trying to fit into the niche of American cooking show judge, and I have to, play the part and walk the walk, talk the talk kind of thing. It doesn't really endear me to them the way I'm endeared to, let's say, Paul Hollywood and Prue.
I think it is vermouth.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Oh, this is gonna get very interesting. Getting the judges tipsy, it's always a way to go to get extra points.
That's one way to win me over.
What is this, Prue from Bake Off? Always, like, every single episode, like, ooh, I love a boozy. I love the boozy. Oh, you win me over with the booziness.
Chef Chris has one more.
Where is this woman that they brought in to help? I haven't seen her once.
So today I presented you with a cinnamon bun banana flambe bread pudding with a Brazil nut brittle. The bread pudding has been finished off with a miso caramel sauce. And my raw element for today is my raw raspberry puree and the fresh raspberries. The acidity just to offset the sweetness.
I love that. Sounds good. And thankfully, she actually said what the dish was, which was my complaint in the previous episodes, that they didn't actually say this is what it was. They told why they did what they did, but they didn't tell what they did.
But the cookie is so sweet.
The cookie's bomb.
The cookie is one of the best cookies I've ever had in my life. So that complement of the cream, almost toning down that sugar in that cookie, which is such a powerhouse.
I'm gonna actually completely disagree with what Elizabeth just said.
Yeah, this is how it goes here.
I'm not.
There seems to be like genuine tension between these two. Not like fun tension, but like kind of like they hate each other.
I'm not a fan of the cookie, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that it's.
Made it for you, Chris.
I
don't know.
Opinions.
How did you get to be a judge? This is the best cookie I've ever had. That's
Oh,
a good cookie.
snap.
Good cookie.
Shade.
That
The shade.
cookie's good.
Well, it looks like I have some baking to do for my fellow judges.
It's a really interesting point, but I don't want to ding either chef for not thinking about a restaurant presentation because we didn't ask them to do that, and that is a different mindset.
But
we did. We
they're-
told them that
They're here to be the hottest vegan chef. If they're not
Right.
serving restaurant quality and restaurant presentation,
Right.
what are they doing?
Taking it outside.
I guess I just like
Happy to, and I'll make you some good cookies when I do it.
and
This is making me legitimately uncomfortable. I feel like these two like really hate each other, and it's not like a fun clashing in dynamic. It's like a awkward cringe. They just do not have good chemistry.
And you, where do you come down?
well, I guess that depends on if we're talking about this dish or if we're talking about an overall experience.
Making it hard, Miles.
So there's no standard of judging. What's the standard? Is it just about this episode, or is it about all 3 episodes? It's just occurring to them for the first time. This is what a lot of people complain about on Bake Off, is they're like, what is the judging really based on? Because it seems like it's pretty much all about the showstopper. I think this is a problem a lot of cooking shows have. You're like, there's not really a clear-cut set of guidelines on which they're judging them.
Please open your boxes and show us what's inside.
Ruh-roh. Sandra got peeled. Nicole's the winner.
I just want to give you a little bit of feedback as to why we are peeling you today and why you aren't walking away the winner of this competition.
Oh God. Yeah, pile
Chef
it on.
Miles,
The competition was about moving from one stage to the next to the next. We both passed. She won this one.
Your visions needed more structure for them to fully come together as a restaurant quality dish.
but unfortunately, it just didn't meet our expectations.
Is this whole part necessary? Like, here's this long, drawn-out thing of why we didn't pick you. Okay, she gets it. I would fucking hate to do that, to, like, realize that you didn't win and then have to, like, sit there and have them be like, you were good, but unfortunately, you just weren't quite good enough. Like, I mean, just let me go home and pack and, like, get the hell out of here.
I think both of you are awesome. You are a winner, my dear, and I will never, ever, ever forget you and what you have brought to Peeled. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Tearing up?
Chef
That's
Sandra,
so
I think
sweet.
what you really brought to the table is to show people that you can start this career working in finance your entire life, pick up a new hobby during the pandemic, and be exceptional at what you do.
Okay, wow. So Chef Sandra picked up cooking during the pandemic. That was a compelling piece of information that I was completely left in the dark on until, I don't know, the last 8 minutes of this entire series.
You're absolutely certain you have an incredible culinary career ahead of you. And you should be incredibly proud.
Yes, you should.
Really good work.
It's
It
nice.
really makes
What they just said was nicer and more compelling and encouraging than what any of the judges said.
And Nicole, congratulations. Knowing that I've only started to work in this industry about 6 months ago is just incredible. So what a start. I hope that this...
I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but...
A donation in the amount of $1,000 will be made to your favorite charity, the Martha Project, graciously underwritten by Copper Branch Vegan Restaurants, where your dessert will be featured on the menu at all locations in the United States and Canada.
That's exciting, but like, does she get a cut of that? Like, does she get paid for that? Because that seems like the type of thing you should get paid for. Like, how is that an honor if you're not getting, like, either credit for it or paid for it, or ideally both?
And that's why this show is so important, so awesome, so, yeah. Ah, got lucky!
Oh, I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. I think she's stoked. She has a lot of questions, but I think she's pretty stoked.
I do this insane thing where I start crying and then I start like hysterically laughing because I'm like laughing at myself crying. It's something I've developed in the last few years, and it is what it is. It always gets me, the parts where they call their family. Always gets me on Bake Off too. Okay, so that's the end of the show. Wouldn't it have been cool if they had added in some vlog footage of Chef Nicole on her vacation that they talked about a million times on the show? That would have been some nice footage to include and very satisfying. I feel like the after the competition footage is always so satisfying, like in Bake Off when it shows them all meeting up with each other. It's just some final thoughts that have been crystallized by watching this episode. Things I've been saying the whole time, like there was far too little personal story from the contestants. I just didn't really feel that connected with them because I didn't know their stories, and pieces of their stories that I would learn, we'd learn incidentally, like after they got eliminated with Chef Donald, and they're like, we love your restaurant in Las Vegas and we love all the community advocacy work that you do. I thought this episode, it was 40 minutes. It could have been like 25 minutes. There was a lot of like repeat stuff. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff. I kind of felt myself just like wanting it to be over. If I were in charge of what's gonna happen next season, I would absolutely keep Chef Babette. I don't know if the other host is totally necessary. I did like her. Chef Babette though is a fucking star, and I am now completely sold on Chef Babette. I would have kept Chef Josie as a judge. I would have kept Dr. Miles as a judge. Maybe I'll keep Chris because I think if the other woman isn't there, it'll just be a nicer side of him. Also, I mentioned this in I think the first video, I really was not a fan of the set. I thought it was just very stark and cold, and it just felt kind of empty and low budge. I think for a vegan show, you want it to feel like really lush and with natural light. I know natural light is very difficult for filming because you can't control it, but that would be my preference. I also felt like this episode didn't really focus on veganism that much. They didn't really talk about like, well, vegan baking is hard because eggs are used as a binder so often and butter is used as this. They did do sort of an add-in segment in the middle where they talked about vegan egg replacements, but during the part where they were cooking, there was a lost opportunity to talk about why vegan baking is different and how it can be achieved and all that. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Like I said, comment down below letting me know your thoughts on Peeled. Subscribe for more of my videos, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!